Good morning, everyone. This is Dr. C. Happy 4th of July weekend. Welcome to another Week with Dr. C post. I thought I would take an opportunity to wish you a wonderful and safe happy 4th of July. I also wanted to kind of point out a few things that we might consider talking about because this is a topic that has been in the wind all week with various classes that I'm teaching and various colleagues, which I find fascinating, and I thought I might share it with you. We've talked in many of my leadership classes, particularly dark leadership, is do we forgive genius? Is if someone is extraordinarily talented, be it musician, be it a surgeon, be it a painter, but their bedside manner, their soft skills, those social skills we talk about in class, social intelligence, emotional intelligence, they're not so much. Do we forgive some of their lack of polite niceties, etiquette, manners in lieu of their genius? In many of my classes, we've talked about Steve Jobs, for example, did amazing and brilliant things for Amazon. I know some brilliant surgeons. I know some brilliant pilots, but their arrogance and their attitude and their soft skills can take a little bit of adjustment. And so my question to you is when someone is so incredibly gifted and brilliant, like Steve Jobs, you'll notice there's a dark side to him. And that those who worked for him, he may have been a genius and he may have done amazing things for Apple. The question is, he was a real not so pleasant guy to work with if you talk to Steve Wozniak and some of his colleagues. But there are many of those stories in all of my students when they post in their DQs for the week. And this came up with a friend of mine who is a world-renowned musician. And he will talk about some of these amazing musicians across the country. And you look at their genius and you see the talents in their fingers and they're just rocking it. I mean, as a musician, I'm envious because my fingers don't do that. But the idea is sometimes their personalities are harsh. Sometimes they lack social graces. Sometimes they can be a real son of a gun. And so I want you to consider when you're looking at people's leadership, is it possible to have both? I know in my example, I often use my surgeon example is I'd rather have him have game in the operating room where it counts to save my life and I can forgive some of the lack of bedside manner. Send in a colleague, send in a nurse, send in someone else if you lack those skills. But very few have that magic in their fingers as a surgeon. So again, I want you to think about, watch people when you're at 4th of July barbecues this week. Watch people when you're in leadership positions and there's conflict. Watch their tongue and how acid it can be, and how difficult sometimes it is when you're so gifted in some areas that maybe our maturity in other areas have not caught up. Can we teach that? Remember, we talk about the difference of skills, piano, surgeon, pilot, boat captain. Those skills, writing in the dissertation, can often be easier to teach than attitude, kindness, politeness, taking the time, Alexa off, taking the time to be able to wonder how you do things rather than what you do. So I want you to think about those things this week and to be able to look at, what do we forgive about you? We're not perfect beings. I am far from it. I have flaws. Sorry to tell you that. But the question is, I try very hard to maybe mitigate them, to overcome them, to acknowledge them. That's why we do the assessments in class. But our situational awareness, the question is two things to consider. Are these people who are absolutely geniuses and amazing talents in their areas, are they aware of their lack of social skills? Are they aware of how they may impact others in their lack of social graces in some situations, or lack of filters, or saying simply what's on their mind and not really caring how it lands or how it might make another person feel? Sarcasm can be painful. Words can be painful. The question is, are we mindful of that? Remember, my point is operationalizing love and taking it from what we would think in the family situation, between romantic partners, between a husband and a wife, between a child and a parent, between a teacher and their students. Can we operationalize that to have more kindness in the classroom, in the boardroom, in the volunteer space, in the church, and do it because it's the right thing to do, not because we're expected to do it? I mean, I think I shared that one example when I first moved to Albuquerque. And I remember the person at Walgreens stopping in the middle of our exchange, looking at me, smiling, and then going back. And I asked her what she was doing. And she says, well, my boss told me I had to smile. And so it wasn't something that she would have normally done. It was something that she only did because she was required to check the box. And it was socially awkward. And it was hard for me not to be amused by this, going, so if you wouldn't have been told to do it, would you have not have done it? That's what I'm suggesting here is for those who are exceedingly gifted in some areas, can we balance the scales to try and understand how people experience us, to maybe work on our bedside manners, to work on that interaction? Because what we're talking about in many of my classes is communication has a sender and receiver. Leadership has a leader and a follower. We have to be in partnership. And this is often a challenge for many. And I want to be able to point those things out for you to give you something to think about this holiday weekend, to look at those family gatherings and see if we can't take off the edge a little bit. And we can take off all those brilliant skills that we are gifted with and see if we can add kindness and those social skills to our repertoire to really make others feel better and to understand that impact and that experience of what it means to experience us. Happy 4th of July. Enjoy your time this weekend. Be safe. I'll see you around the quad. I'm Dr. C. Bye-bye.